Marriage goals for every successful marriages. Building a lifelong love and partnership. Please subscribe for more inspiring massages like this. What if I told you that the key to a perfect marriage isn't something you find, it's something you build? Something that requires more than just sparks and fairy tale moments. Something that grows stronger with every challenge, a love that deepens with every storm you weather together. Imagine a partnership so solid, so resilient, that no matter what life throws at you, your bond only becomes unbreakable with time. Can you picture it? A love that's not just about the happy moments, but also about standing tall through adversity, side by side. But here's the catch. How do you create a bond that lasts through life's toughest trials? How do you turn ordinary moments into something extraordinary, something that transcends the ups and downs of everyday life? Can we really build a love that endures, one that doesn't just survive the hardest moments but thrives through them? And in a world where relationships are tested daily, where distractions, misunderstandings, and heartache seem unavoidable, is it even possible to have a marriage that lasts for a lifetime? Stay with me, because in the next 2 hours, I'm going to take you on a journey of discovery. We're going to unravel the secrets of lasting love, understand the true meaning of marriage goals, and explore the tools you need to build a partnership that withstands the test of time. Together, we'll break down the myths and the truths, and you'll learn what it really takes to create a lifelong love, not just for the first year or the honeymoon phase, but for every season of life. A love that's built, not found. Are you ready? Now, let's talk about the foundation. Every marriage begins with a promise. But let's be real here. Promises are just words. It's easy to say, "I do," to vow love, loyalty, and forever. But those words alone aren't enough to hold a marriage together. The real test comes much later. The real test lies in trust and communication. Trust. Communication. Without these, even the strongest foundation will crumble. Like two people standing on shaky ground, trying to stay upright but knowing the cracks are widening beneath them. You see, trust isn't built overnight. It's something that takes years to create, but just moments to destroy. And communication. That's the bridge that keeps the two of you connected when everything else seems to be falling apart. Picture this. You're at a crossroads in your marriage, facing a decision that could change everything. Maybe it's a disagreement that's been lingering for weeks, or perhaps it's a moment of silence after a long fight. You feel that tension in the air, that weight of unspoken words. Do you choose to speak your truth, even when it's hard? Or do you stay silent, letting fear or pride control your future? In those moments, the smallest choice can alter the course of your marriage. One decision, one conversation, can make all the difference. And yet, how often do we choose to hold back, to stay silent, to avoid the uncomfortable? What happens when we do that? What happens when we allow fear or pride to cloud our judgment, to control the direction we're headed in? Let me ask you, have you ever had a conversation with your spouse that didn't go as planned? One where you felt unheard, misunderstood? Maybe it was something you tried to say, but your partner didn't understand. Or perhaps it was the other way around, where you didn't quite understand them, and no matter how hard you tried, it seemed like you were talking past each other. It's frustrating, isn't it? When the person you love the most in the world doesn't seem to get what you're saying. And yet, that's what happens in marriage. Misunderstandings, communication breakdowns, and walls that slowly start to build between the two of you. So, what happens when trust starts to falter? When you've been hurt, or your partner has disappointed you? How do you rebuild something that feels shattered? How do you take the pieces of your relationship and piece them back together? The truth is, rebuilding trust isn't easy. It's a slow, painful process. It requires vulnerability, openness, and the willingness to forgive. But here's the real question. Can you really rebuild trust if the communication is broken? Can you ever heal if you can't even talk about the hurt? Think about that for a moment. Trust and communication aren't just nice-to-haves in a marriage. They're the backbone. Without them, even the strongest foundation will crumble. But here's where things get complicated. Sometimes, the very thing that holds us back from rebuilding is our own fear of vulnerability. Fear of opening up, of exposing ourselves to the possibility of getting hurt again. And sometimes, it's pride. We don't want to admit that we're wrong, that we've made mistakes, or that we need help. But imagine, just for a moment, What could happen if we chose to face those fears? If we let down our walls, if we took the first step and spoke from our hearts? What if we decided that our marriage was worth the struggle? That love is worth fighting for? The truth is, the path to rebuilding trust and communication isn't easy, and it's not quick. But it's possible. And I'll tell you something else. It's worth it. Because in the end, when you stand together on that strong foundation, it's not just the promise of love that holds you up. It's the trust you've built, the communication you've nurtured, and the commitment to fight for each other, no matter what. So, where do you go from here? What will you do when the cracks start to show? Will you ignore them, pretending everything is fine? Or will you roll up your sleeves, look at each other with honesty, and say, let's rebuild this together? Love isn't stagnant. It grows. It evolves. But here's the thing. Love that grows requires effort. It's not something that happens automatically. Just like a garden, you have to plant the seeds, nurture them, and watch them bloom. But here's the question. What happens when the seasons change? When unexpected storms come, and the winds of life start to blow harder than you ever imagined? The truth is, love can feel easy in the beginning. Those first moments, those first years, everything feels fresh, exciting, new. But time has a way of testing that initial spark. What happens when one partner feels like they're growing apart? When the connection that once seemed so natural begins to feel distant, like a fading memory of something beautiful? What if, over time, one of you starts to feel like you're walking down different paths? You might not even know how it happens. One day, everything feels right, and the next, it feels like you're looking at each other through a fog. The love is still there, but it's different. It's changed. And that's when the work really begins. Because the truth is, we all change over time. We're all growing, evolving, becoming different versions of ourselves. But how do you ensure that your love changes in a way that brings you closer, not farther apart? How do you keep your bond strong when the person you married 5 years ago is different from the person standing next to you today? That's the challenge every couple faces. The question is, how do you grow together, not just side by side, but in harmony? How do you make sure that you're moving in the same direction, even when the world around you seems to be changing faster than you can keep up with? Think about it. There's a certain beauty in growth. When you grow together, you learn new things about each other, you experience life's challenges hand in hand. It can be exhilarating. But growth isn't always smooth. It's messy. It's unpredictable. And not all couples make it through that process. You see, the journey of love isn't a straight line. It's full of twists and turns. Sometimes, you'll feel like you're both growing in the same direction, but other times, it'll feel like you're drifting apart. And in those moments, when you feel like you're at a crossroads, you have a choice. Do you let the storm tear you apart, or do you stand together and weather it? The road to that kind of love, the kind of love that lasts through every season, that grows stronger with every challenge, is not an easy one. It requires patience, understanding, and most of all, effort. It's not just about saying, I love you. It's about showing it every single day, through the highs and the lows. It's about making the conscious decision to choose each other, even when life gets difficult. But here's the catch. Not everyone makes it. Not everyone has the strength to keep going when things get tough. Some people give up when things start to change. They don't want to put in the work, or they don't know how. But for those who do, for those who fight for their love, who choose to grow together instead of apart, the reward is something stronger than anything they could ever have imagined. So, what does that love look like? What does it feel like? It feels like a bond that deepens over time, a connection that grows stronger with every challenge, every storm, every change. It's a love that endures because it's built on trust, communication, and a willingness to evolve together. But here's the big question. Are you ready to do the work? Are you willing to grow, to change, and to evolve together, even when the road gets tough? Or will you let the changes in life push you apart? I want you to think about that for a moment. Because this is where the true test of your love begins. The storms will come. The seasons will change. But in the end, the question isn't whether or not love changes. It's whether or not you choose to change with it. Every marriage will face its first big challenge. It's inevitable. The moment when everything that's been said or done feels like it's about to unravel. One argument, one misunderstanding, one betrayal, or even a simple difference in goals. And when that moment comes, it can feel like the world is crashing down. The very foundation you've worked so hard to build seems to shake, and for a moment, you wonder if you've reached the breaking point. Imagine this. You're standing there, your partner in front of you, the weight of the moment heavy in the air. Maybe it's something small that snowballed into something huge. Or maybe it's a series of unspoken frustrations, finally spilling out in one overwhelming confrontation. Either way, it feels like everything is coming apart. You might find yourself thinking, how did we get here? How did we go from feeling so connected, so in love, to this moment of pain and confusion? It's a terrifying thought, isn't it? That something so strong could feel like it's slipping away. But what if I told you that overcoming conflict is actually the secret to building a stronger, deeper connection? What if the very moments that threaten to tear us apart could be the ones that bring us closer together? That the pain of conflict, though hard to bear, can be the very catalyst for growth. I know, it sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? How could fighting, misunderstanding, and even betrayal lead to something good? Isn't the point of marriage to avoid those moments in the first place? But here's the truth. No marriage is perfect. And no couple is immune to conflict. What defines the strength of a marriage is not whether or not you fight. It's how you handle those moments. How you navigate the storm together. The question isn't whether you will face conflict. That's guaranteed. The question is, when the storm comes, will you choose to face it together, or will it drive you apart? In the midst of that chaos, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. You might feel like you're stuck in an endless loop of hurtful words, broken promises, and misunderstanding. The hurt feels deep, and the distance between you seems insurmountable. But that's the very moment when you have the power to make a choice. You can choose to fight for your marriage. Here's the thing, conflict can be the turning point. It's in these moments that you discover the true depth of your commitment to each other. Are you willing to set aside your pride? Are you willing to listen to each other, to truly understand the pain and fear that both of you are experiencing? Are you ready to rebuild the connection that feels like it's slipping away? Because, you see, the road to a stronger bond isn't paved with smooth sailing. It's paved with the jagged rocks of conflict, the turbulent waters of miscommunication, and the emotional storms that come with love. And while those storms may feel like the end, they're actually the beginning of something deeper. But here's the catch. It's not easy. No, it's not easy at all. It takes patience, vulnerability, and an openness that can be terrifying. Sometimes, it takes apologizing when you don't feel like you're wrong. Sometimes, it takes opening up when you feel too broken to speak. And sometimes, it requires you to make the hardest choice of all, to forgive. It's in these moments of despair, when it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, that your marriage is truly tested. The challenge of overcoming conflict can either break you, or it can strengthen the bond between you in ways you never imagined. But it's not automatic. Not every couple survives this test. Not every couple comes out stronger. The question is, will you choose to fight for your marriage? When the storm clouds gather, will you stand together and weather the storm, or will you let the turbulence tear you apart? Will you take the difficult steps, make the hard choices, and embrace the challenge to grow, even when it feels like everything is falling apart? This is the moment that could change everything. It could be the breaking point. Or, it could be the turning point. It all depends on whether you're willing to choose love, choose connection, and choose to fight for the future you want to build. Forgiveness. It's a word that gets thrown around a lot, isn't it? We hear it in speeches, in movies, in our conversations. But what does it really mean when it comes to marriage? Is forgiveness just about letting go of the past mistakes? Or is there something deeper, something more profound beneath the surface? We often think of forgiveness as a simple act, saying, "It's okay," and moving on. But true forgiveness is not just about those words. It's about a choice, a decision to trust again, to believe that the person who hurt you can change, and to give them the opportunity to prove it. But let's be real for a moment. What happens when the person who hurt you is the one you love the most? The one you promised to stand by, to support, to care for, and to cherish? How do you summon the strength to forgive someone who has betrayed your trust or broken your heart? How do you move past the pain, the disappointment, and the anger when the person you're supposed to trust the most has caused you so much hurt? Forgiveness in a marriage is hard. It's not easy to just let go of the hurt. You might feel like you're walking through fire every time you try to forgive. And that's where the real struggle begins. Because forgiveness isn't just about letting go of what they did. It's about letting go of the pain that keeps you stuck in the past. It's about releasing the grip of resentment that holds you hostage. And sometimes, the hardest thing isn't forgiving your partner. It's forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself for the things you've done, the things you didn't do, or the mistakes you made along the way. Because, let's face it, none of us are perfect. We all have our flaws, our regrets, and our guilt. But how do you forgive yourself for the things that have hurt your partner? How do you live with the choices you made, knowing they caused pain? Forgiveness, in a marriage, is a journey. A journey of redemption for both of you. It's not just about what they did to you, but about how you both move forward together. It's about rebuilding trust, healing wounds, and choosing to love each other despite the mistakes. It's about both partners taking responsibility, understanding each other's pain, and creating a space where healing can happen. But here's the catch. Not every marriage survives the test of forgiveness. Not every couple can move past betrayal or mistakes. Some marriages never recover from the scars of the past. Some couples get stuck in the hurt, unable to move forward, and eventually, the relationship breaks down. What happens when you're unable to forgive? When the weight of past mistakes becomes too heavy to carry? When the resentment builds so high that it becomes impossible to see the love that once existed between you? It's a heartbreaking truth, but some couples can't make it past the betrayal. Some marriages crumble under the weight of unforgiven sins, and they break apart in ways that can never be repaired. That's the painful reality. Not every marriage will recover from a mistake, and not every couple will have the strength to forgive. But what if you're one of the lucky ones? What if you have the courage to forgive, to take the first step toward healing, and to trust that love can be rebuilt? What if, despite the pain, you choose to stay, to grow, and to rebuild something beautiful from the wreckage? Forgiveness is the bridge between pain and peace. It's the path that leads to healing, and it's a choice that both partners must make. But remember this, forgiveness isn't a one-time act. It's an ongoing decision. It's about choosing to let go of the past every single day, choosing to trust again, and choosing to move forward together. And while the road to forgiveness may be long and difficult, the reward is something incredible. Because when you learn to forgive, truly forgive, that's when you create a love that's unshakable. A love that is stronger than any mistake, any hurt, or any challenge that comes your way. The question is, are you ready to take that step? Are you ready to forgive, not just your partner, but yourself? Are you ready to rebuild your marriage on a foundation of trust, love, and forgiveness? Intimacy. It's one of the most important pillars of a marriage. We often think of intimacy as something that's only physical, the passion, the touch, the closeness. But here's the truth. Intimacy isn't just about the physical. Emotional intimacy is just as vital, and without it, even the most passionate connection can feel hollow. Think about that for a second. You can share your body with someone, but if your hearts and minds aren't connected, if you're not truly vulnerable with each other, then that connection starts to lose its meaning. You can be in the same room, even in the same bed, but still feel miles apart. And that's a painful reality, isn't it? When you start to feel like you're living separate lives, even though you're still together. So, what happens when intimacy fades? What happens when you no longer feel that spark, that closeness, that undeniable connection that once seemed so natural? When the touches aren't as frequent, the conversations aren't as deep, and the laughter feels a little forced. Maybe at first, it's subtle. Maybe you tell yourself it's just a phase, that it'll pass. But then, weeks turn into months and months into years. And one day, you look at your partner and realize that the bond you once shared is slipping away. It's a terrifying thought, isn't it? The fear that what you once had, that beautiful, passionate, intimate connection, is gone. So, here's the question. Can you reignite that intimacy, or is it lost forever? Can you rebuild the emotional closeness that once defined your relationship, or are you both too far apart to ever truly reconnect? Some couples, as they grow older, find new depths of intimacy. They learn to communicate in ways they never did before, to connect on a deeper emotional level. They find a renewed sense of love, something even more profound than what they had in the beginning. But others drift apart. They become roommates instead of partners, friends instead of lovers. They go through the motions, but the fire that once burned between them has faded, leaving only ashes behind. But the most shocking truth of all? True intimacy doesn't just come from physical touch. It's about something much deeper than that. It's about sharing your soul with someone. It's about vulnerability, showing the parts of yourself that you keep hidden, the parts that you're afraid to reveal. It's about honesty, about laying bare your fears, your dreams, your insecurities. It's about being truly seen by the person you love the most. But what happens when you're afraid to show that side of yourself? What happens when the fear of being vulnerable, the fear of rejection, keeps you from sharing your true self? What if you've been hurt before, or if you're scared that showing your weaknesses will make you seem less strong, less worthy? The emotional distance between partners can grow quickly in these moments of fear and doubt. And before you know it, you're not just physically distant. You're emotionally miles apart, trapped in a cycle of silence, unwilling to break free because you're afraid of what might happen if you do. And that's when the real danger starts. Because intimacy, real, meaningful intimacy, can't be built on fear. It can't be built on walls and secrets. It can only be built on trust, openness, and the willingness to show up for each other, to be raw and honest, even when it feels scary. So, what do you do when intimacy begins to fade? How do you bring it back? How do you rebuild that emotional connection that's so crucial to a lasting marriage? The answer lies in your willingness to be vulnerable, to share your fears, your desires, your true self. The answer lies in your ability to open up and allow your partner to do the same. But here's the hard truth. That journey isn't easy. It requires you to face your own insecurities, to confront the fears that have kept you from being fully open with your partner. And sometimes, it requires you to make the first move, to extend the hand of vulnerability and hope that your partner is ready to meet you halfway. Can you take that step? Can you choose to embrace emotional intimacy once again, to find that closeness that once seemed so effortless? Or will the distance between you grow too wide, too deep, to ever cross again? Marriage isn't just about two people coexisting under the same roof. It's not just about sharing space, sharing a bed, or splitting the household chores. It's about building something together. A life, a family, a future, a partnership that's founded on teamwork. But here's the thing, teamwork isn't always easy. Sometimes, one partner feels like they're carrying the load, while the other is drifting. One person is giving everything they have, pouring their energy, time, and love into the marriage, while the other seems to be standing still, waiting for things to happen rather than making them happen. Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever felt like you're the only one doing all the heavy lifting in your marriage? Like you're the only one pushing forward, while the other person just stands there, watching, waiting, and doing nothing? It's a feeling that can drive you to the edge, a feeling that can build up resentment, frustration, and even anger. And if left unchecked, it can tear apart even the strongest bond. Because here's the painful truth, no marriage can survive if one partner is carrying the weight alone. It might seem manageable at first, but over time, it starts to break down. It starts to create a distance between the two of you, a rift that no amount of love or good intentions can bridge. When one person is constantly giving, and the other is constantly taking, eventually, the balance tips and everything begins to unravel. But here's the kicker. When both partners are fully invested in building something meaningful together, that's when magic happens. When both people are pushing forward, when both people are giving their best, that's when you become a team. That's when you face the world as a united front, and no obstacle, no challenge, is too big for you to overcome. Picture this for a moment. You and your partner, standing side by side, facing everything life throws at you. The struggles, the uncertainties, the difficult decisions. But you're not facing it alone. You're facing it together. And that's a powerful thing. That's when marriage becomes something extraordinary. It's not just about surviving the hard times, it's about thriving through them. But can both partners stay committed to this vision? Can both partners keep fighting for the same goal, even when the path gets rough. The real test of teamwork comes when it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. When you're both exhausted, when you've both given all you can, and yet the journey ahead feels endless. What happens then? Can you keep going, or will one partner start to drift, letting go of the shared dream? This is where the true strength of a marriage is tested. When everything around you is crumbling, when life seems to be pulling you in different directions, can you both hold on to the vision of what you're building together? Or will the strain of it all cause one of you to give up, to stop trying, and to let the marriage fall apart? It's a question that many couples face. The idea of one person doing all the work, of one person giving their all while the other remains passive, is a painful reality. But it doesn't have to be that way. The truth is, when both partners choose to invest equally in their relationship, when both choose to share the load, something incredible happens. The bond between you becomes unbreakable. You become not just lovers or partners, you become a team. And there's nothing stronger than that. But it's not always easy. It takes work. It takes dedication. It takes the willingness to sometimes step back and let your partner lead, just as they will need to step back and let you lead at times. The balance isn't always perfect, but the effort is what counts. The commitment to never give up on each other, to never stop working toward your shared dreams, is what makes a marriage truly strong. So, what will you do when the strain starts to show? What will you do when you feel like you're carrying the weight alone? Will you pull your partner back in, remind them of the vision you've built together, and choose to move forward as a team? Or will you let the imbalance tear you apart? Time is the ultimate test. It's easy to fall in love, isn't it? It's easy to get swept up in the excitement, the passion, the newness of it all. But here's the harsh truth. Keeping that love alive, year after year, through every challenge and change, that's the real test. The honeymoon phase may be over, but what happens when you reach the point where it feels like the magic has faded? There's no secret recipe for making a marriage last. No magic formula, no simple fix. But the couples who succeed, the ones who weather the storms, the ones who still stand strong after decades together, they all share one thing in common. They refuse to let time wear them down. They don't let the years take away their connection, their bond, their love. They fight for it. They fight for their love, even when it feels like it's slipping away, even when the world around them is changing. And here's where things get interesting. They don't just fight for it when everything is going well. They fight for it in the tough times. When life gets hard, when the excitement fades, and when the days begin to feel routine. They keep the fire alive, even when it feels like everything else is changing. But here's the real question. Can you keep the spark alive after the honeymoon phase? Can you love through the tough times, even when everything feels like it's falling apart? Can you still believe in your marriage, still believe in your love, even when it feels impossible? Because, let's be honest, at some point, it will feel impossible. There will be days when the love feels distant, when the laughter is rare, and the connection seems almost gone. There will be moments when the person you once couldn't live without feels like a stranger. The questions will start to creep in. Is this all there is? Are we still right for each other? And that's when the real challenge begins. That's when time starts to play its cruel tricks. The longer you're together, the more life has a chance to test your bond. Children come along, careers shift, personal goals evolve. And through all of that, the love you once shared can feel like it's slipping through your fingers. The magic of those early days can seem like a distant memory, and you're left wondering, where did it go? But here's something you need to understand. The love that lasts, the love that withstands the test of time, doesn't happen by accident. It's a choice. It's a decision to keep choosing each other, day in and day out. It's about finding ways to keep the connection alive, even when it feels like the fire is dying. So, how do you do that? How do you keep the spark alive when everything around you is changing? When you're both exhausted, both overwhelmed, and both wondering how you're going to make it through? The answer isn't always clear. There's no easy fix. But the couples who succeed are the ones who choose to never give up on each other, even when the going gets tough. They understand that love isn't just a feeling. It's a commitment. A decision that you make every single day to invest in each other, to nurture the relationship, and to never take it for granted. And when you do that, when you choose to keep the love alive, even through the hardest times, that's when you build a bond that's unbreakable. But the real test is this. Can you face those tough times together? Can you choose each other over and over, even when it feels like the world is pushing you in different directions? Can you fight for your love, even when everything else is trying to tear it apart? I'm going to tell you something that might surprise you. The couples who succeed in keeping their love alive after the honeymoon phase, the ones who make it through the rough patches and come out stronger on the other side, they don't have it all figured out. They don't have the perfect marriage. They don't have all the answers. But they have something stronger than anything else. They have the determination to keep going, to keep choosing each other, no matter what. But here's where things get complicated. Even the strongest marriages can face a tipping point. Even the most committed couples can find themselves at a crossroads, unsure if they can keep going. And that's where the real danger lies, because when you're standing at that crossroads, the choice you make will determine the future of your relationship. Every marriage, no matter how strong, comes to a moment of reckoning. A moment when everything you've built, everything you've fought for, will be put to the test. A choice between holding on or letting go. And that choice, it's often the hardest thing you'll ever have to face. Because sometimes, the love you've worked so hard to build just doesn't seem enough. It doesn't feel enough to get you through the tough times, the moments of doubt, the miscommunications, the betrayals, or the disappointments. And when you reach that point, when you feel like you're standing on the edge, it can seem easier to walk away than to keep fighting. To let go and move on rather than continue to put yourself through the pain of trying to make it work. But here's the truth. That decision isn't always as simple as it seems. Yes, sometimes it's about admitting that the love you thought would carry you through isn't enough. But other times, that decision is clear. You choose to fight for it, no matter what. You choose to believe in the love that brought you together, and you choose to rebuild it, even when everything feels impossible. So, what will you choose when faced with this decision? When you're at that crossroads and you feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, what will you decide? Will you walk away, thinking that you've tried everything and it's just not meant to be? Or will you fight for the love that has defined your life, that has been there through thick and thin? The truth is, marriage isn't about perfection. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship. It's about growth. It's about compromise. And most importantly, it's about a willingness to evolve together. To accept each other's flaws, to learn from the mistakes, and to continue building something beautiful, even when the road ahead is uncertain. But here's the kicker. The choice to stay, to fight, to rebuild, to create something extraordinary together, that choice is yours. It's not up to anyone else. It's not about what society tells you. It's not about what your friends or family expect. It's about what you and your partner decide in that moment, when everything seems to be falling apart. The choice to stay and build a love that's worth fighting for will define your future. And I'm going to be honest with you, there are no guarantees. There's no magical promise that everything will work out if you just try hard enough. Sometimes, despite all the effort, despite all the love, it still won't be enough. But sometimes, the love you choose to fight for, the connection you decide to nurture, will be stronger than anything you could have ever imagined. So, ask yourself this. When you're standing at that crossroads, when it feels like your marriage is hanging in the balance, what will you do? Will you walk away, or will you choose to fight for something extraordinary? Will you choose to face the storm together, to rebuild, to grow, and to love? Because in the end, the strength of your marriage will be determined by the choices you make in those defining moments. Will you choose love? Will you choose each other? Will you fight for the life and the love that you've always dreamed of? Or will you let go and walk away? And so, we come to the end of our journey. You've learned about the highs and lows of building a lifelong love and partnership. The struggles, the joys, the moments of doubt, and the moments of triumph. We've navigated through trust, communication, forgiveness, intimacy, teamwork, and the choice to fight for love. You've seen what it takes to make a marriage truly last, to create something that stands the test of time. But remember this, marriage isn't about grand gestures. It's not about the big, flashy moments, the over-the-top displays of affection, or the fairy tale endings we see in the movies. No, marriage is built on the small, everyday choices that you make together. It's in the little things, the way you choose to love each other each day, the way you choose to forgive, to listen, to grow. It's the quiet, consistent efforts that, over time, create a bond that lasts a lifetime. You see, true love isn't just about finding the right person. It's about choosing to build something meaningful with that person every single day. It's about learning, evolving, and being willing to change together. It's about facing the hard times, the tough decisions, and the challenges of life with the knowledge that your love is strong enough to get you through. So now, I ask you, what kind of love do you want to build? What kind of marriage do you want to create? Do you want a love that survives, or do you want a love that thrives? A love that not only stands the test of time but grows stronger with each passing year, a love that weathers every storm and celebrates every triumph together. The answer is within you. It's waiting to be written in every moment, every choice, every word and action that you take with your partner. Your marriage, your love story, starts today. And how it unfolds, how it grows, how it evolves, that's up to you. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope you found insight and inspiration along the way. May you always find the strength to love, the courage to grow, and the wisdom to know that your marriage goals are always within reach. You have the power to build a love that lasts, a love that is deep, meaningful, and extraordinary. So, what will you do with that power? And so, we come to the end of our journey. You've learned about the highs and lows of building a lifelong love and partnership. The struggles, the joys, the moments of doubt, and the moments of triumph. We've navigated through trust, communication, forgiveness, intimacy, teamwork, and the choice to fight for love. You've seen what it takes to make a marriage truly last, to create something that stands the test of time. But remember this, marriage isn't about grand gestures. It's not about the big, flashy moments, the over-the-top displays of affection, or the fairy tale endings we see in the movies. No, marriage is built on the small, everyday choices that you make together. It's in the little things, the way you choose to love each other each day, the way you choose to forgive, to listen, to grow. It's the quiet, consistent efforts that, over time, create a bond that lasts a lifetime. You see, true love isn't just about finding the right person. It's about choosing to build something meaningful with that person every single day. It's about learning, evolving, and being willing to change together. It's about facing the hard times, the tough decisions, and the challenges of life with the knowledge that your love is strong enough to get you through. So now, I ask you, what kind of love do you want to build? What kind of marriage do you want to create? Do you want a love that survives, or do you want a love that thrives? A love that not only stands the test of time but grows stronger with each passing year, a love that weathers every storm and celebrates every triumph together. The answer is within you. It's waiting to be written in every moment, every choice, every word and action that you take with your partner. Your marriage, your love story, starts today. And how it unfolds, how it grows, how it evolves, that's up to you. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope you found insight and inspiration along the way. May you always find the strength to love, the courage to grow, and the wisdom to know that your marriage goals are always within reach. You have the power to build a love that lasts, a love that is deep, meaningful, and extraordinary. So, what will you do with that power? If you found this journey helpful and inspiring, don't forget to hit the like button, share this video with someone who might need it, and subscribe to the channel for more content on building a lasting, loving relationship. Let's keep the conversation going. Leave a comment below and let us know how you plan to strengthen your own love story. And as always, thank you for being here.